What's good, everybody? It's Lucid here, back for another video, and today I'm gonna be finally reviewing Mass Effect Andromeda. I know for the people that's been keeping up with my channel, y'all been seeing I've been putting out content every day, so I've played it for a vast amount, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my review for it. So first things first, if you've been listening to any of these reviews saying that this game's shit, go ahead and throw them out the fucking window. Because if you've actually seen people who actually played the game, you will see that a majority of those people enjoy the game a lot. I know there's been a lot of controversy about the facial animations, but honestly, bro, that's really the main thing wrong with the game is the facial animation, and I'm going to list some cons in this video. But if you really think that facial animations are gonna turn you off from a fantastic game, just go ahead and stop watching the review and don't even fucking worry about Mass Effect or any of the other games, because really it's idiotic to judge a game based off facial animations, because if that was the case, I would have never even played games like Skyrim. But I'm gonna get to the facial animation. So the way I'm gonna do this review is I'm gonna start with the pros, I'm gonna list the cons, and then I'm gonna list some stuff that I feel is in between, where I don't really feel good or bad about. They're just kind of in between. So of course, let's go ahead and start with the pros. First thing with the pros, Mass Effect Andromeda has a fantastic story. I would even say it rivals Mass Effect 2, if not better than Mass Effect 2. I thoroughly enjoyed the story in Mass Effect Andromeda. It was really, really good. And I know a lot of people were kind of tempted to not get Mass Effect Andromeda because they heard rumors that the story was kind of boring. Yes, the story is boring for like the first 2 hours of the game. I'll give you that. I'll give that a fair point to anybody that said that. But another fair point for those people who didn't read full reviews is that if you notice in those reviews, almost every review I've ever seen quotes that Mass Effect Andromeda gets 10 times better after that first portion. The story is fantastic. I love the story. Love the story. It is fantastic. It is fantastic. That's all I'm gonna talk about the story. Second pro is the combat. With the introduction of the jump jet and being able to dodge, BioWare really added a sense of verticality to Mass Effect that it never really had before, and it sped up the combat. Like in the other Mass Effect games, it was a bit more slow paced. In this one, they sped it up, so it's way more dynamic and it's really action packed. And it's just a simple addition of that jump jet that really just changed the entire playing field when it came to Mass Effect. So the combat is amazing. I love the combat. Love the combat. It's strategic and action packed at the same time, which is something I look for when it comes to a game, especially a third-person shooter. Anytime I think about a third-person shooter or just an RPG in general, I think about strategy. And the fact that you're able to strategize in this game is just astronomical, which is going to go into my next point about the skill tree. There's 3 different skill trees. There's a combat skill tree, there's a biotic skill tree, and there's a tech skill tree. And in these skill trees, there's a ton of different skills you can get. And the way the skill system works in the game is that you can set skill profiles, which is basically you can set 4 custom classes, each containing 3 skills of your choice, and you can change them on the fly in combat. The different combinations and the different play styles that you can come up with in Mass Effect Andromeda is fucking ridiculous. There are so many different ways to play this game when it comes to combat that it honestly blows my mind. It really does blow my mind how many different ways there is to play this game. And I'm telling you, any person that has dogged this game probably hasn't played it that much. And if they have played it that much, I mean, of course, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I personally feel like a lot of people that gave this game such shit were people that either didn't play it a lot or hadn't played it at all. But the skill tree system and the skill profile system and how in-depth it is and just the overall feel of the combat is just, it's amazing. It's really one of the most satisfying combat experiences that I've had with a third-person shooter in a long time. Another pro, in my opinion, is the addition of strike missions. Strike missions are missions where you can send AI strike teams, sort of like in Assassin's Creed games where you can send assassins out to do missions. And doing these missions, you can level up your strike team so that they can do more difficult missions, and they can also bring you back hella loot. And you can get really good weapons. There's also a handful of weapons and armor that you can only get through strike missions. And it just really adds another sense to the game. It adds another sense of strategy. It adds another way to collect stuff in the game. And I really love when games go the extra mile to add these type of systems. I really like the fact that they did it. And they also implemented multiplayer within these strike missions, because in these strike missions, there's certain missions called Apex missions where you could do them in multiplayer instead of sending your strike team to do them. And of course, with you playing, it yields a higher chance of you succeeding. And with the last pro is just the overall longevity of the game. I have played this game for hours. Friends of mine, 80, 90 hours. Really, 80, 90 hours to beat the first playthrough. Not even New Game Plus or nothing. 80, 90 hours. There's so much content in this game. There's 5 main planets that you can explore. And I tell you, I spent an entire day exploring one planet, doing missions on one planet. Left that planet, went to another planet, did missions, did story missions, came back to check on that planet. Whole bunch of new shit popped up. It is crazy the amount of content in this game. Literally, I had almost 20 hours on the game, and I had just completely 100% the first planet. 20 hours of the game on one of 5 planets. That is fucking ridiculous. And even then, there was still stuff that I could get on there. So it's like, it's just I haven't had this much fun and been able to play a game so long since Skyrim first launched. And it's honestly ridiculous to be able to say that, but it's true. I really had a wonderful time playing this game. Now to get to the cons. Of course, let's go ahead and start with facial animations, because that's what everybody wants to talk about. Yes, the facial animations are kind of shit when it comes to the humans. I feel like the alien and the other AI facial animations are a shit ton better, but the human AI facial animations and some of just the other animations in the game in general are a big lackluster. I wish they were better. They're not horrible though. People make them seem like they're just shit. They're not. The graphics are amazing in the game, and the fact that people are sitting here bitching about facial animations just really blows my mind. I mean, they should release a patch to fix it just to make the game perfect. But I don't feel like people should be judging this game based off facial animations. Now to get to the actual cons of the game that I feel like brought the game down. The first one is the cover system. In this game, since it's a third-person shooter, you would expect a dynamic or action cover system. And by dynamic or action cover system, I'm referring to you can press X and slide to cover, press circle, slide to cover. There's an auto cover system in this game. And what that is that basically when you have your weapon out, when you get close to cover, they automatically go in cover. And with the addition of an auto cover system, there's no button to crouch, which I think draws away from the stealth aspect of this game a lot. You can still be stealthy in this game with certain skills such as tactical cloak and using your sniper, but I really feel like not being able to crouch and be stealthy in this game takes away an element that a third-person shooter could really use, and I feel like it just would have been a fun addition to have. The auto cover system's not horrible, but it does take a lot of getting used to. Another con of this game is lack of wildlife and enemy variety. While yes, these planets are extremely vast and there's a shit ton of stuff to do, you don't really find yourself running into like a lot of like random encounters like you did in Skyrim and other games alike that had similar longevity. There's not a complete huge thing of wildlife. There's not an abundance of wildlife. It's really like lacking wildlife. And while yeah, you'll get attacked by certain enemies and certain animals every now and then, it's not spontaneous. You don't get some of those like random wow factors that you would get and that you would get in games like The Witcher. So I feel like that kind of brings it down a little bit, but the combat is so good that you kind of just have fun with those things. And with enemy variety, while yes, there are a variety of enemies, for the most part you're fighting an alien race known as the Ket. And with the Ket, there's about 4 or 5 different types of Ket. Other than that, you're fighting like boss characters. And the only reason that I feel like you can get over that is because the game itself is challenging. So since the game is challenging, it kind of oversteps the fact that there's a lack of enemy variety. But I feel like it's important to note that there is a lack of enemy variety. And I feel like that's another thing that brings the game down in some points is when you have such a vast game like this, you need an abundance of enemy variety. And the last major con that I have for this game is that even though it's a single player game, and I know this might be hard to believe, there is a slight sense of input lag, which honestly bothers the hell out of me. And yes, I got used to it, and once you get used to it, you don't even notice it. But there is like a very slight input lag, and it's really weird that a single player game has a slight sense of input lag, but it does, and it's kind of weird. So it takes some getting used to, but it's a lot more noticeable in multiplayer, where a slight amount of lag can change the whole thing. And since there's already a sense of input delay in the game already, it kind of ruins multiplayer for me. So those are the pros and cons, and now let me get into the in-betweens. And since I was talking about multiplayer, I'll get into multiplayer. Multiplayer is, like it's just there. It's nothing big. It's nothing flashy. It's nothing fantastic. It's kind of just there. Like there's no really spark in multiplayer. I see there's a good reason to play multiplayer because you can get rewards for Apex missions and bring them over to single player. But other than that, I don't find a sense of just constantly playing multiplayer. It's not really that exciting to me. Another in between is crafting. While I do love crafting on a majority of the games, and I do like it on this game, I feel like they overcomplicated it. Even though it is simplified, there was a much simpler way to go about it. And I don't like the fact that you essentially can't craft into this game until you get like 15-20 hours into the game. Not that crafting isn't made available to you, but it's just the simple fact that you have to get these minerals, and for a lot of the weapons that you're able to craft, you have to get minerals from other planets, and you don't get access to these other planets to a good bit of the game. And also with the mining aspect to get minerals, while yes, it does yield you minerals, you're better off just buying your minerals because mining is so inconsistent and you really don't get a whole lot. Now, I do enjoy the fact that you can explore the galaxy and find different minerals and find different aspects that could help you with crafting. I do like that, but it just feels like it just takes way too long to craft stuff in this game. And a lot of other games, while yeah, it's a challenge to craft some of the stuff you want, it literally takes 10 hours to craft one thing, and then by the time you craft it a few hours later, you're going to out level that item and you're going to want to craft something else, and it's going to take you forever to get all the materials again. It's just, I don't feel like the crafting system was really thought out. And another in-between thing is just weapon variety. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a variety of weapons. I don't want the statement of weapon variety to get in y'all head to where y'all think there isn't a variety of weapons. There are a variety of weapons. There isn't a variety of good weapons. I feel like a majority of the remnant weapons in the game, which is the like machine weapons, are kind of trash because none of them really do a significant amount of damage, and if they do, they have a really bad like reload speed or charge speed or whatever, and they're just not essential for combat. The cat weapons are better, but they just, I don't know. Some people like the cat weapons, so that's why I put this in the in-between category. So it's left up to interpretation based on the weapons. I'm just saying from personal preference, and this entire review is personal, that I don't really think that the weapons bring a lot of variety in terms of like power and different things you can do with them. The Milky Way of the Earth weapons seem to be the strongest and most efficient when it comes to everything. And while yes, you can add augmentations and different mods to it, to give it different stuff, like you could change your projectiles to heat-seeking plasma bolts, which sounds cool, but it takes away damage that it doesn't even tell you that it takes away. It's just and that just kind of goes back into the crafting. Like, it's not, I just feel like those two parts of the game weren't thought out as they could be. But to give this game a score from 0 out of 10, I think it would be fair to give it a solid 8. While it does have its cons and it does have its in-between moments that are left up to personal perspective and interpretation, I feel like the game as a whole is a fantastic game. It has a very rewarding and refreshing combat system that is accompanied by a fantastic arsenal of skills that you can put together in all types of different combinations to satisfy your own needs of play. There's several different ways of play. There's tens upon 20s of hours to put into this game, and there's so many different things that you can do that I feel like anybody that hasn't picked this game up already is significantly missing out on a fantastic game. While it does have its cons, the cons are not enough to stop anybody from playing this game. And I feel like anybody who's an RPG fan, anybody who's a third-person shooter fan, anybody that's a Mass Effect fan, you will not be disappointed with this game. But that's about a wrap for the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It helps out my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe for some more RPG content. Next week, I'm going to be doing Persona 5, so look forward to that. Go ahead and check out my Persona 5 hype video because I'm hype. And stay tuned for the rest of the week for more Mass Effect content. And that's a wrap.